On August 11th, 2014, Robin Williams committed suicide. An actor, a comedian, a celebrity. On the face of it, he had it all. Why would he choose to end it? One of my friends thought he knew the answer to the why. In his mind, it was infinitely simple why Robin Williams would kill himself. He was weak. And that comment is at the core of what we do not understand about mental health in Pakistan. Depression is not simply feeling sad or feeling blue. It's so much more than that. Why would Robin Williams do it? He had everything to live for. Depression manifests itself in so many different ways. Just because somebody's having a good time or somebody laughing, that does not mean they may not be depressed. Depression is not just curling up in a ball in a dark room and listening to Adele songs. We just do that on Wednesdays. Jim Carrey actually said it best when he said, I hope everybody could get rich and famous and get everything that they have ever. So it is not the answer. What is the answer to life? That is something that we all need to discover together. Talking about depression and mental health, it's the stigma attached to it which is so much worse than the suffering itself. Everybody who's depressed should not have to convince everybody else about the legitimacy of their suffering. So if anybody out there is depressed, I just want them to know that your feelings are valid. They're true. Just because you do not see the demons somebody is fighting in their own head does not mean those demons do not exist. Just because somebody's truth is different than yours does not mean it's not the truth. It's about what they're going through. My name is Shehzad Ghias Shaikh. I've been doing stand-up comedy for about 7 years now. But I feel like I really became a comedian only 2 years back. Because that is when I was diagnosed with depression. It's true. To be a professional lawyer, you have to get your license. To be a professional doctor, you have to get your medical license. And to be a professional comedian, you have to get depression. It might seem strange, but the sad clown trope is sadly true. It defies conventional logic to most people, but it makes the complete sense to me. On the face of it, Robin Williams was full of warmth and joy and made everybody laugh. But when you do that, when you use humor to make everybody laugh, to make everybody have a good time, when your empathy is driving you to ensure that everybody around you is having a good time, when you go back home, you realize you've left nothing of yourself for yourself. Your empathy starts killing you. And most artists feel a lot more than most other people. And it's not something that they can turn off. So many nights I've stayed up till morning just wishing my had an off switch. That there was some respite for me from me. But that's not how life works. That's not how our brain works. Depression is as valid as any other physical disease. Nobody would walk up to no decent person would walk up to a person with lung cancer and say, hey, I have an easy time breathing, what's your problem? Yet we do the same thing to people with mental health issues. We think their suffering is less than. I was told I have nothing to be sad about. That my mental health issues are a facade. And I was told that because people said, there are people dying in Africa and Syria, people living in abject poverty. What do you have to be sad about? The world is a terrible place with terrible things, but that does not make your suffering invalid. We need to be so much more empathetic about mental health issues in Pakistan. The core is that we do not understand what it is. It is not simply feeling sad. It is so much more than that. When I realized that I was suffering from depression, I spent a few years not doing anything about it. Because society had convinced me that I had not suffered enough for my depression to be legitimate. I didn't need other people to say anything because the voices in my head were telling me that. I had internalized what I had heard. Where Jean-Paul Sartre says hell is other people, my hell was inside me. And then when I went to people and I decided to open up, I got some really interesting reactions. I told my mother I was depressed, and she said, "Ghar ka khana nahi khate to aur kya hoga?" I told my friends I was depressed. They said, "Chal mote pizza khate hain." One of my friends actually had the best thing I've ever heard. She said, "Listen, I don't believe in mental health. You're only acting like this because you're a Capricorn." Mental health is not a science, but horoscopes are. Somebody should save up on newspaper column space and just write the same thing every week. Capricorn, you're depressed. So it's tough dealing with this, right? By far the most popular reaction I got was, "Listen, are you depressed?" I say, "Yes." And people would say, "Have you tried being happy?" Genius. Genius. Do these people walk up to people with cancer and be like, "Have you tried not having cancer?" And we just don't understand it. And we don't have to. I'm not berating anybody for not understanding it. Because the two most popular diagnoses of mental health in Pakistan are pagal ho gaya, jinn chad gaya. There are 4% of diagnosed depression cases in Pakistan, but every family knows somebody jisko family mein jinn chad gaya. Think about what we consider mental health to be. We would rather believe in ghosts than mental health. Casper is more believable than depression. Being a ghost... Thanks. Thanks. Being a ghost buster is a more legit profession than being a mental health professional. And it's because of that stigma that people don't go to therapists. There is so much stigma attached to that. Nobody berates anybody for going to the doctor. It's the exact same thing. So if there's somebody who's suffering, who feels like they're suffering, don't be afraid to seek help. See a professional. Somehow, Pakistan ranks the least in mental health integration in a study done in 15 countries. It's because we do not think of it as valid even. When I realized that my empathy was not the problem was that everybody else did not have enough of it. Empathy is not the problem, it's the... We all need empathy. And I'm not saying that people who do not understand mental health are bad people. It's just that they've never been told better. When I was not depressed or I had not experienced it, I did not know what it was. But what empathy demands of us is to say, I do not understand what you're going through. I do not feel the same as you. I may not even be able to help you. But I just want you to know that I'm here. And that is what most depressed people need. They do not want your pity. They do not want your sympathy. At times, they just want to know somebody's out there. So if you know somebody who you think is depressed, make them feel loved. Make them feel like they're not alone. And I wish I knew that when I was young. Going back to the Jim Carrey quote, he said, being rich and famous is not the answer. So then I asked myself, what is the answer? And the answer has been in front of us for ages. It is the first feeling we get when we're born. The answer is love. The Dumble quote is up there because I wanted to say, mental health is in your mind just like anal warts are just in your ass. Just because they're there does not make it not real, Harry. The most popular description of depression is for people who've never experienced it. I cannot explain it to you. It's like a dark cloud is around you at all times, or you feel like there is. So the only thing people need is love. And to tell you how alienated we are from that concept, I'm going to do a little exercise with you guys. In a society that feeds off our hate and our insecurities, loving yourself is probably the hardest thing that you can do. You will always find somebody telling you you're not good enough, You're not pretty enough. Your grades are not the best. Your cousin has better grades. If you don't lose weight, you will end up getting married to your puppo ki beti. These voices do not define you. Your depression does not define you. That voice in your head telling you you're not good enough does not define you. I want each and every one of you to just take 10 seconds. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Try to take in all the positivity in this room inside, and if any negative thoughts, just breathe them out. Just once more together, feel the energy of the room. A deep breath in, and a deep breath out. Now I want you to open your eyes, look to the person to your left and right, and just say these 3 simple words. I love you. And that reaction is exact. I want you to seriously do it. I am dead serious here. It's just 3 simple words. Thank you. I can barely see some of you, but even the people I saw were so alien to love, people just went, I love you. It is the most basic human emotion that we feel, yet we cannot say it to another person. Because society has made love a loaded term. We've been told that it is not the answer. But this is what I want people to know. So for the past 2 years, I've been working with teenagers. I've been working at Napa, Lyceum, CBM. And the idea of my workshops is simple. It's creating a safe space where people can be themselves, where they do not feel judged, where we're using theater as a way for people to tell their own truths to other people without being judged, to be in a community. People who are suffering need to know that you do not have to fight every battle alone. Anytime you look around, there are people out there. I'm going to leave you with one last story, one last anecdote. And this is something that validates what I'm doing. I did my BA LLB from LUMS. I left that career and started pursuing theater. And I've questioned my senses ever since because everybody I meet makes me question them. But it's moments like this that make it all worthwhile. And I'm going to leave you with this moment. For the sake of their privacy, let's just call him H and S. During a theater workshop, one of my students, S, was clinically depressed. And his best friend, H, stood in front of him. And he said, for the past year, I've tried everything. All I want to do is to help you. What can I possibly do to help you? And S said, I do not know, because I've never learned to let people in. The most basic human emotion, love. We're not socialized to love. And forgetting everything that we've socialized into, H went back to the most instinctive feeling he had. He just stood there in silence, walked up to S, and hugged him. And in that moment, S learned how to let people in. He learned how to love. He learned that you're sniffing, but you're going to go home and feel the same thing. It's this, where we're taught we need to man up. We should not show people our vulnerabilities. And as I stand here and show you my vulnerabilities, I hope that you see that it's fine to do so. It's fine to feel. It's fine to not be in that rat race. It's fine to not get the best grades, to not compete with everybody else around you. As S learned, it's fine to just be a boy for a while. And whoever you are, wherever you are, if you feel these things, I just want to say, I believe in you, and I love you. And you're not alone. Reach out. There'll always be people who are willing to help. If you don't see it at your home, see it in your communities. If you don't have a community, build one. And with all the people in this room, just look around. There is love. Thank you so much, everybody.